Our September 25th, 2023 meeting is now called to order. I'm going to ask that you would please take a moment to silence your cell phones during this meeting. I also want to note that the City Council encourages public participation. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. However, this time limit may be reduced if there are numerous speakers on a particular item. To ensure efficient proceedings, all persons addressing the City Council shall state their name and shall speak in a civil and courteous manner. Speakers shall address the agenda topic only to which they are speaking on and shall not be repetitive. Members of the audience, please respect the rights of others and as to not create noise or other disturbances so as to disrupt or disturb persons who are addressing the City Council, council members who are speaking, or otherwise impede the orderly conduct of the meeting. All right, we will now have invocation and then Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Nielsen. All right, let us stand first for prayer and then pledge. Let's pray. Oh, dear God, our Father, we thank you for this day, this ability to gather here today. Let us have a sound mind. Let our thoughts be free. Let them, Lord God, be thoughts that are constructive to the advancement of this historic city. One of the best cities, not only in Louisiana or the South, but in the United States of America. So I thank you that we will be led, as we say, by the Spirit to make sound decisions. Your tongue, that you would help to guide everybody who happens to speak at this meeting on tonight. Do keep us now. We give you the glory and praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that, Councilman Nielsen. All right, next item on the agenda is the reading and approval of our minutes from our previous meeting, September 11, 2023.
Mayor, make a motion that the minutes of September 11, 2023 be dispensed with and that they be approved with no corrections.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any comment about this particular motion? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Peachy.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next, we have two proclamations, the first of which is declaring Fire Prevention Week, and that's read by Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. Proclamation, whereas the city of Natchitoches is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our city, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire, and whereas home fires killed more than 2,800 people in the United States in 2021, according to the National Fire Protection Association, the NFPA, and fire departments in the United States responded to 338,000 home fires, and whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires in the United States, and fire departments responded to more than 166,400 annually between 2016 and 2020. And whereas 2 of every 5 home fires start in the kitchen, with 31% of these fires resulting from unattended cooking. And whereas more than half of reported non-fatal home cooking fire injuries occurred when the victims tried to fight the fire themselves, and whereas children under 5 face a higher risk of non-fire burns associated with cooking than being burned in a cooking fire, and whereas the city of Natchitoches residents should Turn pot handles towards the back of the stove, always keeping a lid nearby when cooking. Keep a 3-foot kid-free zone around the stove, oven, and other things that could get hot. Watch what they heat and set a timer to remind them that they are cooking. And whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan and are more prepared will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in reported home fires almost in half. And whereas the city of Natchitoches first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. Whereas the city of Natchitoches residents are responsible to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas the 2023 Fire Prevention Week theme, Cooking Safety Starts With You, pay attention to fire prevention, effectively serves to remind us to stay alert and use caution when cooking to reduce the risk of kitchen fires. Therefore, I, Ronnie Williams Jr., Mayor of Natchitoches, do hereby proclaim October 8th through 14th, 2023 as Fire Prevention Week throughout this city, and I urge all the people of Natchitoches to check their kitchens for fire hazards and use safe cooking practices during Fire Prevention Week 2023, and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of the City of Natchitoches Fire and Emergency Services. And I move to adopt proclamation number 88.
Second.
All right, thanks. The motion has been made and seconded for proclaiming Fire Prevention Week, the 8th of October through the 14th. Chief Wynn, of course, the proclamation is pretty straightforward. Is there anything else to add about some of the activities and demonstrations that'll be going on that week?
Well, you know, a fireman with a microphone is going to take a few minutes there, so. Just a little bit about Fire Prevention Week. It's observed each year during the week of October 9th in commemoration of the Great Chicago Fire, which began on October 8th, 1871, and caused devastating damage. The conflagration killed more than 250 people, left 100,000 homeless, destroyed 17,400 structures, and burned more than 2,400 acres of land. So some people ask why we observe it during that week, and that's why. That leads us to we have the open house on October 5th October 5th, 2023, out at the Bossier Parish Community College now. Our building is located at the back of the facility, and we have all kinds of fire prevention activities. We'd love to see you there. We'll have hot dogs, things to drink, some burning demonstrations, a lot of safety material. We've invited the fire departments in the parish to come show off their equipment. And I think Bossier Parish Community College is actually having an open house that night too. So they'll be showcasing everything that they have. They have ENT program. They have all kinds of neat programs going on out there. So if you don't want to come out there and see the fire stuff, come out there and see Bossier Parish Community College also. And thank you.
Thanks, Chief, for adding those remarks. I've taken my children out there, and of course it's educational, but it's also a fun, family-friendly environment. And as Chief Wynn said, what's going on simultaneously is Bossier Parish Community College will have their open house. So really good event to go and learn about fire prevention. All right, Council? Yeah, I think we could do that too. I don't see my man here tonight, but we can certainly get a picture. Chief, won't you come, Councilman Nielsen, and I'll get a picture with you?
Yeah, we were hoping to Ash the Gator would have been here, but
Yeah.
we'll take Chief Wynn.
Ash is coming. Ash is coming.
You guys always do such a great job.
So we have a team. We have Ash and we have Sparky Post here with us. So good. So, teamwork makes the dream work.
We'll get you in a little, Chief. All right, thanks a lot, Chief. Appreciate it.
See you on the 5th.
All right, always a great event. We got the motion second. Any comment? All right, seeing none, Mr. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yes.
Harrington. Peachy.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. All right, next we've got another proclamation, and it's declaring October 15 as White Cane Awareness Day in the city of Natchitoches. That's read by Councilwoman at-large Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. This is proclamation. Whereas the white cane, which every blind citizen of Louisiana has the right to carry, demonstrates and symbolizes the ability to achieve a full and independent life and the capacity to work productively in competitive employment. And whereas the white cane, by allowing every blind person to move freely and safely from place to place, makes it possible for the blind to fully participate in and contribute to our society and to live the lives they want. And whereas every citizen should be aware that the law requires that motorists and cyclists exercise appropriate caution when approaching a blind person carrying a white cane. And whereas Natchitoches, Louisiana law also calls upon employers, both public and private, to be aware of and utilize the employment skills of our blind citizens by recognizing their worth as individuals and their productive capacities. And now therefore, I, Ronnie Williams, Jr., Mayor of the City of Natchitoches, hereby proclaim October 15th, 2023 as White Cane Awareness Day in the City of Natchitoches, and do call upon our schools and colleges to offer full opportunities for training to blind persons, upon employers and the public to utilize the available skills of competent blind persons, and to open new opportunities for the blind in our rapidly changing society, and upon all citizens to recognize the white cane as a tool of independence for blind pedestrians on our streets and highways. And I move for adoption of ordinance, of resolution number 090.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. I think this is certainly a worthy initiative. I was actually chatting with Mr. Gary Scholerman, and he's from Bro Bridge, but they've come up. They're trying to bring attention. I think, again, this is a worthy cause to bring attention to. So we're going to have them come up, and we'll take a picture, Councilwoman at-large Smith and I, with Mr. Gary Scholerman. And his wife is with him as well. So I think this is the most northern so far that they've gone in terms of, you know, you've been from Bro Bridge. They've done it in Bro Bridge, Lafayette. You mentioned Scott as well. So we're happy to certainly bring some recognition to white cane awareness. So we'll be grateful to do it. Okay? All right? Get a picture?
On behalf of the blind and low vision of Louisiana, I want to thank you for this, and it'll be on display at many of the VA facilities and other facilities throughout the state from October 15th to the rest of the week, that week. And come up to the Natchitoches clinic, and we should be there one day during the week. And we'll have a lot of different equipment that we use. It's amazing what they've done now for the blind and low vision.
The Natchitoches Clinic, where is
I couldn't tell you exactly where it's at.
Kaiser Avenue.
The Seagull, you have the Seagull?
Yeah, well, it's the National,
VA?
VA clinic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kaiser.
Okay.
All right. And it's going to be on what day?
We're not sure yet.
Okay.
October 15th is the day for National White Cane Day. And it's to make everybody aware of the people, people walking around with white cane, they may not be totally blind, but they have low vision, and it's not a target for you to aim at. Just, and when you go by, don't honk at them and tell them that they're on the wrong spot, because it just gets confusing. But anyway, it's, we get aggressive and take the whole week, and sometimes take the whole month. So, oh. Okay. So once again, we want to thank you for this. We appreciate it. And like I said, we will announce when we, what day we'll be at the clinic. And hopefully you all can come out and visit us. Thank you.
Thank you, your lovely wife. All right, really appreciate them. We have a motion and a second. Any comment? All right, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Okay, the next couple, well, I guess the next few we have on as final, but the first of the three are planning and zoning related. And the first one is read by Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Thank you, Mayor. And this is for finals, ordinance number 54, 2023, and ordinance amending the ordinance of number 64 of 2001 by changing the zone classification of property described as following: 13.63 acres being portion of the land situated of south side of the State Highway 6 existing south ward onto the Northwestern State College campus at the portion of the Northwestern State University line northwest of Tarleton. How you pronounce it?
Tarleton.
Tarleton Drive.
Tarleton.
Tarleton Drive. Tarleton Drive.
Okay, because I taught my Tarleton Drive, correction, drive bound of north by the University and Parkway by south by the Natchitoches Central High School and west by 3110, whereas the Planning Commission of the City of Natchitoches, State, Louisiana, has recommended at their meeting on September the 5th of 2023 that the application of Northwestern State University to rezone as a property described from R1 residential to B3 commercial for the future development of business associated with the support of the role of the university be approved. And I move to adopt resolution, ordinance number 054, 2023.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. This, a couple weeks ago, went through planning and zoning and was successful there. Some of us may have seen some of the dirt work, excuse me, that has been done. I think the old billboards have been, I don't think they're there anymore, right? They removed them. And so what you're gonna have is electronic billboards going in this location. Okay, well, the screen will move. It may be one advertisement and it'll move. I think we've seen that in different cities that we've gone into, but this will be the first such in the city of Natchitoches and it's on Northwestern's property. Now, the other part of this legislation is to go ahead and rezone for what's going to be an innovation center, which is a really cool concept. It's a great partnership between the university and LSMSA, and so they've been successful combined and getting some funding, accruing some funding for the project, and they're going to continue down that path. So I think this innovation center is going to be great for the city of Natchitoches, potentially a maker space. We may have heard of those where people who are producers and make different crafts, if you will, products, could maybe have access to some tools and some other ideas. So it's I think it's a really good concept. So that's what the whole piece is about. I don't know if there are any comments about this agenda item. Okay, we did get a motion and a second, I think. All right, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
Like I should say, in the years coming, so that motion carries, but Steve, as you leave it there just for a little moment, of course, the billboard is gonna be a change. Eventually, the Innovation Center, kind of what the ninth grade center was, but then across the street, of course, we had on our agenda about 2 or 3 weeks ago, the fire station. So this area is going to be renovated, rehab, brought up, and even the master plan that we're encouraging people to come and not only just listen, but to give comment. It calls for some, I would say like this, needed projects, if you will, along the university corridor to support our university even more, okay? All right, so just wanted to add that little piece. We do have another planning and zoning for final, and that is read by Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 055 of 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 64 of correction, and ordinance number 64 of 2001 by changing zoning classification of property described as follows. Lot 80 feet, front east side, 2nd Street, north by Free, south by Grayson, east by boundary line between Sherman Wilson and the city of Natchitoches. Whereas the Planning Commission of the city of Natchitoches, state of Louisiana, has recommended at their meeting on September 5th, 2023, that the application of Janice Marie Scribner to rezone the property described above from R2 residential to R2 residential with special exception for short-term rental be approved. I so move that we adopt ordinance number 055.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. I believe we had the Scribner family here a couple weeks ago, Council, and I think maybe Mr. Scribner spoke, but it's the home we see here, right in front of the utility annex building, and just to use it as a, what we call an Airbnb, right? So, don't know if there are any comments about this particular item. Again, I thank Mr. Scribner, right? Correct? I think he made some comments on last time, so. Okay, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Petey.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. All right, next item is for final as well, and is read by Councilman Harrington.
This is ordinance 56 of 2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches to award the bid for the 2023-24 street rehabilitation project, bid number 0663. This has been introduced previously, and it does award the bid to the lowest bidder, which was Regional Construction. I move to adopt ordinance 56 of 2023.
I second.
All right, it's the lowest bid, I think, of 3 bids that we received. And it actually falls under it's an amount lower than what we budgeted for the project. These are 3 streets that are included. Fairground Road, I think it had got some rehabilitation from Rapides to right at about the airport some years ago. The rest of it is in, not good condition. So from that airport stop or wherever it stopped to the bypass, all right, so that's a pretty long stretch of street, if you will. Carver Avenue is another one. And then the other one is West 3rd Street, I believe, West 3rd Street. So we do have a contingency put in terms of if there happens to be a change order, so we're pretty much, but hopefully everything goes smoothly and we can have other considerations if there may be another street that fit within the budget of what's left over. So again, those are the 3 streets that are part of this work. Are there any comments about this particular agenda item? Okay, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Petey.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries as well. The next 4 items are for introduction, and 2 of them deal with the American Rescue Plan funds that we've got remaining. And, well, I guess really 3. Technically 3 if we're going to do a motion to add. But the first one that's being introduced is read by Councilwoman Lloyd Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance number 058 of 2023 for introduction. which is an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches, Ronnie Williams Jr., to execute an amendment to that lease in favor of the Louisiana Agricultural Finance Authority of the property located in the Natchitoches Regional Airport, described as Lot 9, and that lease in favor of the Louisiana Agricultural Finance Authority of that property located in the Natchitoches Regional Airport, described as Lot 10, and further providing for advertising of the amended lease and an effective date. It's introduction only.
Okay.
Let me go
It's
through.
to amend the lease at the airport with the state of Louisiana is what this one is about. The state requested that it be on the agenda, and they simply want to combine their leases for lots 9 and 10 into one lease. Wants to change the title of the name to say Mike Strain, DVM Chairman, and his title on the prior leases have been Commissioner of Agriculture and Forestry. So just to make some changes and combine leases, again, this is for hangars that belong to the state. All right, it's something that they're requesting. Any comment at this time?
They've been a good long-term tenant.
Mayor, do you mind if I finish reading it?
Oh, yeah, I thought you were finished.
Okay, whereas Lot 9 is currently on the 10-year lease to the Louisiana Agricultural Finance Authority, and Lot 10 is currently on the 10-year lease to Louisiana Agricultural Finance Authority as authorized by ordinance number 42. Whereas the airport manager has been contacted by the Agricultural Finance Authority and has requested that the two leases be combined into a single lease for both lots 9 and 10. And whereas the terms of the lease for Lot 9 provides for an annual payment of $750 and a termination date of September 18, 2032, and the terms of the lease for Lot 10 provides for annual payments of $1,174.30 and a termination date of July 31st, 2031. And whereas the airport manager has proposed that both leases be amended so that they are included in a single lease on lots 9 and 10 with an annual consideration of $1,924.30 with a termination date of July 31st, 2031. That's for introduction.
Okay, all righty, she read some of those figures associated therewith, but again, this is a lease we have with the state. We do take Councilman Nielsen's comment. He thinks that they've been a great tenant. Are there any other comments about this particular item, council? Comments or questions? Okay. Again, this is just for introduction, so our next meeting, October 9th, we will, if some questions, you know, the typical thing, if some questions happen to come up, please reach out or have them for that particular meeting. All righty. Next item that's just being introduced is read by Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Thank you, Mayor. This is for introduction only. Ordinance number 60 of 2023, an ordinance to designate the funds from the American Rescue Plan for the use of the city of Natchitoches to provide funding from the Mill Street Master Plan authorization that the execution of any and all documents, contract, and any agreements and otherwise providing with the respect of thereto. Whereas the city of Natchitoches, sometimes hereafter referred to the city, is a municipality located in the state of Louisiana, parish of Natchitoches, government of the Home Rule Charter of Code Ordinance adopted by the ordinance number 5 of 1977, and whereas section 210 of the charter of the Home Rule Charter of the city approved by the Charter Commission of the city on July the 7th, 1975, the voters in election of November the 1st, 1975, acquires the proclamation of funds by the city of enact ordinance of the city council of the city acting and government authorities thereof, the governing authorities, and whereas further the American Rescue Plan Act 2021 enacted the 117 Congress of the United States of America appropriation of $126,000 of the state of Louisiana, which has been appropriation of the city in purpose of providing funds for the government service that may have been shortfall of revenue funding. And this is just for an introduction only.
Yeah, this is just to allow up to that amount to do a master plan on the Mill District area. For those who are not familiar, this is where Flying Heart is, also where the L.H. Johnson building, that is one in the picture, although it looks nothing like that now because of the renovations that have been going on there. But just to do a master plan for the area, which will basically determine with input from city, not only city staff, but input from residents as well, how we want this area to be developed. We do know that we're in the process of renovating the building on Texas Street to relocate Public Works Department with their equipment, so forth, so on. So, you know, I think there's certainly a desire from some residents to add more to our entertainment area for youth. And what I mean by that, kind of create something that, you know, a space for youth, be it Natchitoches residents, lifelong Natchitoches residents, or even college students as well, to make us a more attractive place for college students to come, but also for our students and our youth as well. So that's really the hope of what we're trying to create with some of the buildings that are remaining in the area. Again, Flying Heart, I think, is a strong anchor there, but certainly it's great to have some others. And the end of this, and it's an up to amount we would have to go out for, have to do some bid process. So it's up to, theoretically, it could be lower than that 126,000 amount, theoretically speaking. But again, the goal, I don't think we've been secretive about what the goal is to, again, obviously we know we got the movie theater at times, as showings for our youth. Of course, that's the skating rink, and there are parks and sports and things like that. I get that, but just to add more to the entertainment space is really what the aim is. So, Council, I don't know if there are comments or questions here about this particular agenda item.
It's much needed for entertainment for the young people.
Yeah, and I think I cut myself off what I was going to say. It leads to an RFP process with whatever firm we may have that get it to, they may know some producers and people who would be interested, or they'll certainly create the RFP, put it out for us, and draw that interest. Very similar thing that happened in terms of the RFP with the hotel downtown here. The city said, hey, we need this, hired a firm to do RFP, and we're able to be successful with building the hotel. So something very similar to that, although the buildings are there. So, so if there happen to be any comments or questions between now, well, it's just being introduced now, Precious, so I was really, for the council. Yeah, I'm sorry. Council, any comments or questions? But if some happen to develop from now until the next meeting, and certainly, Precious, I'm willing to, after the meeting, if you want. Okay. Well, if you don't mind staying after, you and I can discuss it. Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda is to use some of the money. And so what we're talking about remaining, or right at about $500,000, I think, right? About $500,000. We do technically have the money for the water treatment that we're matching with the grant, but again, that's obligated. It hasn't been spent just yet, but it's obligated to the water treatment plant. This one is dealing with juvenile costs, and Councilman P.T. is reading it.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 061 of 2023, an ordinance to designate funds from the American Rescue Plan for use by the city of Natchitoches to provide funding for the cost of juvenile housing, authorizing the execution of any and all documents, contracts, and agreements, and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Whereas further, the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, enacted by the 117th Congress of the United States of America, ARPA, appropriated $75,000 to the state of Louisiana, which was then appropriated to the city in the ARPA Revenue Replacement Funding for the purpose of providing funding for government services that may have seen a shortfall of revenue funding due to COVID-19 pandemic, including but not limited to funding projects up to the amount of the city's revenue loss. And this is for introduction only.
Okay. Yeah, this is related to juvenile housing, which, I guess, not to go into the minutia necessarily, but city discovered in April of this year that the juvenile housing costs are our responsibility. It was something that was taken care of by the, in terms of paying for juvenile housing by the parish government. So there's a revised statute that indicates that the municipality, city of Natchitoches, is responsible for that. So we need to, basically, we budget a certain amount. I know Chief Collins can elaborate a little more, but we typically budget about $67,000, I think we said, for it. And already with this provision that has recently been discovered in April of this year, we've gone through the budget on those juvenile housing costs. I think we've got about 4 juveniles who are.
Yes, sir. We're housing 4 juveniles. We have limited resources, and Ware is one of the detention centers. They recently went up in their fees that they charge from $110 to $310 a day, and then also using some other facilities that we've been able to find. It's at $170 a day to house a juvenile, whereas in the case of adults, historically speaking, we're paying $15.50. So we can incarcerate 20 adults for the price of the one juvenile that we would house. We do have the requirement to house those, especially those who are participating or allegedly committing some of the most violent crimes, from murder to robbery to burglaries that are serial in style. People expect us to put them up until they can at least go to trial. And unfortunately, that's costing us each and every day. And now that it's a burden on the city, that was something that was unplanned. The $67,000 that was budgeted would have included any fees that we would have paid for adults and for the few misdemeanors that we would have had. In most cases, all felony cases were being maintained by the parish.
Right. Thank you. And I'll say this about Chief Collins and some of the leadership at MPD. They've been, I think, pretty smart about using the city's dollars in this effort. We're using the Natchez, Mississippi one, which is some savings, and we're going to get signed on with Jackson Parish, which is, going to be some more savings versus some facilities we've been known to use in the past. So I think they've been good about recognizing that. But it's very costly to house juveniles. As Chief Collins said, these are individuals for, unfortunately, for whatever reason, have committed some pretty serious crimes, and we're not into catching them and just releasing them back into the community, especially. But there's a cost associated with that, I think he said, he gave you the scenario where juveniles is extremely more expensive than your adults. So, but that's why we have that. And some of the money will, for right now, we're not saying we're not going to come back for another budget amendment somewhere, but I think they're going to find some of it in that budget to match the $75,000 from ARPA. Yes, Chief, you had another comment?
Yes, sir. I was just going to point out to the public that to house just one juvenile at the facility that we will drive out of state to go utilize, being a $170 a day, that would cost for 1 year $62,050. If we were to maintain them at a local facility where that's increased their fees, it would be $113,150 just for that one individual to keep them. If they've allegedly committed the crime of murder or seriously injuring someone with whatever weapon or type of offense that they did, in order to keep that person off the streets, to make sure it doesn't repeat and happen again. That's how much the city's incurring to house that one juvenile, so.
And certainly believe it helps. I mean, obviously, we don't want anybody to commit these crimes, but if you do, I mean, you got to be able to pay for it, you know. And I will say this, I've said before, and I think which is really remarkable and something we should keep up, and I think I've expressed to detectives like Glass, and I share with Chief Collins as well, that our last 5 homicides in the city, we've got people arrested on all 5 of them. Yeah. Now, we're still looking for that. There certainly still are some that are not closed, but the last 5 that occurred here, they've done some great work, and some of our systems, some of the things that you've done, Council, with your allocation of ARPA for cameras, that's been tremendously beneficial with one particular case. So, that's really good. But again, we've got to be able to keep them in if they've done things like that, and it's just the way life ought to go. So, don't know if you got any comment or questions about that, Council?
Well, I just want to say this. You know, I know it's hard. We don't like to look at some things and say some things, but the money that we're spending housing these juveniles, to me, I think would be more efficient if we could probably find a facility here and use that money to build a facility or renovate a facility that may already be vacant, and try to house the local juveniles here in Natchitoches. The money that we're spending for these juveniles per day. You said 100,000, I think you said?
Up to 113,000, yes, ma'am.
And just keep,
213,000?
Keep that individual 113,000 for the 1 year if
For
they would
one
stay there.
year,
Yes,
for
ma'am.
1 year.
and just keep in mind,
That's one juvenile, you said?
One juvenile.
and we just assumed this responsibility in April. So our budget was set, and we didn't know, and then we get this information. But, so it's not like we've been doing this for,
Right, this is
It's
all
only
new.
been-
This is uncharted territory in the history of Natchitoches. We have never had to pay for the juveniles, and this is something that just
Something
was,
that-
came to light and was put on us to move forward with, which we started to do with no problem. But at the same time, it's something that's not budgeted. We have looked at what can we do. We don't have facilities here in Natchitoches. We've always been relying on Ware, which gave us limited space. So then we started looking at other locations, especially with the price increase, to have other locations where even if we've got to travel 6 or 7 hours to get that juvenile to that facility, we're doing that to save the city money. But at the same time, I know even when we pondered trying to build and construct locations, I do believe you traveled up north to look at a facility. They, just to add on a few beds, it was in the millions, and I don't think there's some serious issues there and some things that have to get all parties involved to come in. The state said that they had surplus in certain areas, but we don't have the facilities, because we're not the only ones going out of state to house people. We had, if y'all recall, in Jefferson Parish, they had a riot at one of the juvenile detention centers. They had to call in state police and SWAT to come in and get that scene back under control to save the staff that were being held hostage. And they moved some of the most bad actors in that event to another state, to a facility. Well, those juveniles were kicked out of that state, and they said no longer would they allow any Louisiana juveniles to be transported there. We have a problem.
I think Ware only, takes 3 or 4 hours? How many
Yes, ma'am.
beds I think they
About
allow?
2. We used to have 4.
No, I
We
think
basically
3.
use 2. Yes, ma'am.
2, okay.
And
But I hope that, Chief, maybe you can get together with maybe the sheriff and maybe some other leaders and try to see if it's something we can do for a facility, to build a facility. I mean, it would have our kids, the kids here getting in trouble, stay here at home. Parents would be able to visit them and that sort of thing. And it would also provide jobs for people. I know, we think about money and all of that, but to me, I just think it would be more proficient and efficient to try to keep them here if we
Yes.
can. Because we're spending the money.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is that even statewide, once they're adjudicated and they're placed into a facility and they become the the wards of the Office of Juvenile Justice. That's where we're trying to get so that we don't have to pay for them. But as long as they're sitting and waiting for trial, we're bound to have to pay for that fee. On top of it, most of the facilities are similar to law enforcement. They have a lack of employees that are working in that facility. That's why some of the facilities that have bed space, they're unable to fully staff or fully occupy those spaces due to the lack of manpower. They have juvenile probation and parole agents that are having to work in lieu of them having correctional officers take care of that facility. Then also you have the associated cost of educators and the medical staff that have to be there, because for every one juvenile, you've got about 4 or 5 people that are taking care of that one individual, and that's mandated by federal and state law. So there's a cost.
I understand. It is costing. I know people doing it on the other cities, but I just think it's something we may look at down the line, considering.
I think it's a worthy conversation, Councilwoman at Large.
Chief Collins, if I may ask, does the parish provide any funding for the housing of the juveniles? The parish?
No,
They do not.
They were,
the parish was paying for it prior to April of this year.
And they dropped out completely?
Yeah, they learned of a statute that said this municipality should pay the cost for our own detainees. So they brought that to us and said they're not paying anymore. And so at that point, we recently received a letter from the parish, indicating some more claims regarding, fees they paid in the past. So at this point, the parish will not be helping the city of Natchitoches, although I think they are still paying for some other municipalities in the area. So that's the reason we brought this legislation before.
So, Mr. Washington, we're mandated to pay this, which no way we can get out of paying, like the parish, you said, pulled out. So we're obligated to pay this amount.
I think what the revised statute says
Revised statute.
is if the facility were in Natchitoches Parish, then I think the cost will be on them. But the fact that,
It's a regional, it's been held in a regional facility.
yeah, fact that it's outside of the parish, that's what the revised statute does. So if we did have a facility here, then it would be on the parish government to do, but we don't currently have it. Yep. Okay. All righty. So that'll be up before us at our next meeting, okay? All righty, the next item is budget. Is Councilman Nielsen, is that right?
Yes, I'm unable to open the document, but it's ordinance amending the 2023, 2024 budget to reflect additional revenues and expenditures, which we're obligated to do. And turn it over to Ms. Clarissa.
Yeah, so this was a unique situation during our process of renewing our agreement, which you'll see later in another resolution. When we were renewing our agreement with Sabine State Bank, they did a account review. That is normal. You do an analysis of the accounts when you're reaching the end of that agreement. And in their review, they found where we had been underpaid interest income on all of our accounts. So we have a lot of accounts, I think all but one, that are actually interest bearing. So the money that is held in that account actually accrues interest on a monthly basis. And they went back to review all those accounts for the entire time that we've been with them. And they figured out that they had underpaid us by $1.192 million. So close to $1.2 million in interest income was owed to the city of Natchitoches. That has been since awarded to us and deposited into its respective accounts. So being that that is definitely more than 5% of what we predicted for the year, we have to go back in and make a budget amendment to just recognize that income variance there. A positive variance, but it is a variance to what we budgeted as interest income for the year. In the review of what could be done with the money, the additional revenue that we brought in discussion with others and definitely the mayor and myself, we felt the need to increase our reserve as we've seen some unexpected expenditures come along, and then just the goal of just solidifying our position as an organization financially. So we took a large portion of that $1.2 million, and I'm just rounding that number up. So of that $1.2 million, we put $942,000 into reserve. So we wanted to, again, just beef up that number there and just increase our solidity here with the city. And then the other portion of that, which is $250,000, we awarded to utilities for a water maintenance project. It is the, make sure I'm saying it right, Matt, the 1 million gallon tank?
Million-gallon ground storage tank.
Okay, so the 1 million gallon ground storage tank, there is a necessary rehab to that. That is immediate, that is an immediate need. I think it's over 1 million?
About 900,000.
Okay, so, Matt was able to find some other areas, to transfer funds from, but they were short of 250,000. So we took a portion of that interest income, and you'll see that on the amendment as well, and gave it to that water maintenance project, and then the 942,000 that was left over, we put in our reserve.
And Matt, have we bid that project yet?
No, it's being engineered right now. That's the designer's estimate, engineer's estimate.
So hopefully it comes
Could be a little
back.
more, could be a little less.
Yeah, hopefully it comes back a little less,
Yeah.
but that was something I think that we discovered during the water treatment project that we're doing now. Is that correct?
Correct.
It was discovered as something that needed to be rehabbed during that, so. And like I said, Matt did a good job looking at his budget, as Clarissa said. Did a good job looking at his budget and finding where he could not do some things this fiscal year to focus on this unexpected project. And just thought it was, and Matt, you've been out, we didn't talk directly about it, but did think that it was probably a prudent thing to let that million sit for now anyway. So you got the 250 and then the rest, about $1 million to sit at this point.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Council, you got any comments or questions?
I have one question. Matt, did you correct me? Did we not get a grant, I think we said a couple of months ago, towards the water project?
Yeah, that's a different project. Although it is at the water plant, the grant we got is not part of this smaller project.
I'm sorry, the what? I didn't hear.
The grant that we received, that you're speaking of, is for the water treatment rehab. This is a storage tank for water. This is a storage tank that holds approximately 1 million gallons. We need to take it, it's out of service right now. We need to do some rehab work on it to get it back in service.
Well, yeah, that was
But
a
a
$5
different
million.
project.
Yeah, that was a $5 million grant for Plan 4, to build Plan 4 and to rehab Plan 3, right?
Correct.
That's what that's going to be used
Correct.
for ultimately. Although we are looking for funds, I don't know, the engineer touch bases with you. I know we are trying to look to see if there's some funds to maybe go on this project, but
Yeah,
hadn't heard
we're
anything
currently
from-
still seeking some other funds also.
Well, I will say, we did get from capital outlay, which you will see next meeting on the 9th. And there were some emails about the $300,000. So a part of the 1 million gallon tank project,
Yeah.
we got $300,000 from capital outlay.
Yeah, there was some capital outlay that was in excess from the state that is, can only be used for water and sewer projects. That's what it was designed for. So we're gonna access that 300,000 along with this to help pay for that.
Yeah, so I think that's certainly good to have that now.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. All right,
Did you
any,
say that interest was for 1 year?
I'm sorry, say again?
Oh, no, I'm talking.
Clarissa.
No, it was over the entire relationship that we've
Over
had with
this.
Sabine, so I think it's 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, off a year or two, but I think we've been with them for 5 years. So they went and reviewed that entire time that we had been with them.
Okay. Again, this will be up for a vote at our next meeting. So any questions, please reach out to us. All right, at this particular point, I ask for a motion to amend the agenda to add ordinance number 063 of 2023. And the reason is, it was on the agenda, but you can see it was on the resolutions, and it's really an ordinance, is really what this is, so.
Mayor, I make a motion that we amend the agenda to add ordinance number 063 to the agenda.
Second.
All right, motion is made and seconded. Again, I explained it for you. It's just a simple thing. It was stated as a resolution, but it really should be a two-meeting deal. Any comments about this? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Petey,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Councilman Harrington is reading for us.
Ordinance 63 of 2023, which is an ordinance authorizing Mayor Ronnie Williams Jr. to utilize remaining ARPA funds in the amount of $78,000 for the repair of the existing storm drain outfall system and sinkhole located at 843 Washington Street. Whereas the city of Natchitoches was recently notified of a sinkhole on private property behind the residence located at 843 Washington Street, and based on observations at the site, city staff have determined that the sinkhole is apparently a result of issues in the existing storm drain outfall system that flows from an existing catch basin located on Washington Street. And Washington Street is part of the state highway system, and thus is under the jurisdiction of the Louisiana Department of Transportation Development. And whereas the city of Natchitoches staff requested assistance from DOTD for remediation of the sinkhole and storm drain issues, and whereas DOTD staff advised they have no records of a drain in servitude or easement in this area, and whereas in the absence of a recorded servitude or easement, DOTD claims no responsibility for the storm drain outfall system, and whereas City Attorney Daniel Murchison Jr. determined that an alleyway known as, I don't know how to pronounce that, Sampaio Rack Alley previously existed along the north side of the property where the sinkhole is located, and whereas it appears that the existing storm drain outfall system is located within the area bounded by the previously existing alleyway, and whereas the storm drain outfall system drains runoff from the area of Natchitoches bounded by 2nd Street to the west, Lafayette Street to the south, and Texas Street to the north. And whereas the city of Natchitoches is responsible for the existing system of open ditches and storm drains within the contributory drainage area noted above, and it thus appears the city of Natchitoches is responsible for repair of the existing storm drain outfall system and resulting sinkhole, and the estimated cost of these repairs is $78,000. And funding for this repair work was not included in the budget for the current fiscal year, since the need of the repairs arose after adoption of the budget. And whereas unused ARPA funds remain in the amount of $78,000. Now be it ordained that the city of Natchitoches City Council hereby authorizes Mayor Ronnie Williams Jr. to utilize remaining ARPA funds in the amount of $78,000 for the repair of the existing storm drain outfall system and sinkhole located at 843 Washington Street. I move to adopt ordinance 63 of 2023. No,
Yeah, it's just an introduction.
Yeah, it should be an introduction, I apologize.
Okay, yeah, so there's a sinkhole that was brought to our attention, I don't know, now 2 months ago, Nick? Yeah, and I think that ordinance pretty much lays it out, how everything went. You know, we were already beyond our budget. We discovered this was brought to our attention after our budget was set, and, you know, so. Yep, so, and we also tried to basically look to see if it was any way DOTD was responsible. I think that language is in there. I think Tommy did some title work on a particular project, so. Yep, I think the sinkhole sits in between two properties. pretty much the Dickens property and, what's my fella's name?
Butler.
Butler, Wiley Butler, yeah, he does all of the, if you look at his Facebook, the weather, you know, he
Yeah.
posts about the weather all the time, so, yeah. Yep, so, comments or questions, council, about this?
Unfortunate.
Second one.
Yeah, yeah, this one doesn't seem to be as large yet, right? And so we want to kind of get to it so it doesn't become that big of a sinkhole, so. Yep. All righty. Again, this will be up before us at our next meeting. Okay? All right, we've got a few resolutions remaining, and the first one is read by Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 85, whereas Title II of the Louisiana Revised Statute of 1950 provides that cities, towns, parishes, and other political subdivisions of this state may separately or jointly acquire, establish, construct, expand, own, lease, control equipment, improve, maintain, operate, regulate, and police airports and landing fields for the use of aircraft. And whereas the State of Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, Division of Aviation, is charged by Title II with the responsibility for the development of aviation facilities within the state to foster air commerce and to safeguard the interests of those engaged in all phases of the aviation industry and general public. And whereas the city of Natchitoches, hereinafter referred to as sponsor, has completed an FAA DOTD approved master plan, action plan, and/or airport layout plan, which outlines the specific future development of the Natchitoches Regional Airport, and the sponsor is desirous of implementing a portion of the approved plan recommendations which provide for the critically needed improvements as stated below to substantially improve the safety and usability of the airport, but does not have sufficient funds of its own required for completing the needed improvements. Whereas Louisiana DOTD Division of Aviation is authorized by Title II to expend funds for the construction or enlargement of airports for the safety and advancements of aeronautics, and that the sponsor does hereby formally request that Louisiana DOTD Division of Aviation provides funds required to complete the airport improvements at the Natchitoches Regional Airport, specifically as described in the Capital Improvement Program application for state financial assistance dated August 28, 2023. And I move that we adopt resolution number 85.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. We do have Mr. Jonathan Farmer here, engineer with KSA. He's going to come to the microphone. I also recognize Mr. Larry Cooper, who is the airport manager for us. He got Airport Manager of the Year on last year, so let you know he's doing great work for us. And then Mr. Salter is here as well as the chairman of the Airport Commission. Of course, Ed Lee, the airport is under his department. So, Mr. Farmer, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening. So this is the action that comes before you every year at this time. It's triggered by the state or DOTD Aviation Division requiring this document resolution be submitted by November 1st of every year. You guys have done an exceptional job year after year in terms of pretty much just scratching off your top one or two priority projects and then moving on to the next. So this document really hasn't changed that much year after year. We're kind of just moving projects up. Most recently, you accepted a grant. We should be starting construction in the next couple weeks on the remaining pavement airfield rehabilitation work. At that point, we've pretty much taken care of all the obstructions. Pavements are in good shape. We have a current project from last year's program that you approved where we're going to start replacing some more of the signage and lights with LED on the airfield. So now that we've gotten some of those things out of the way, we can start to get to some of the other type of projects that don't rely as heavily on those. So just some of the first couple ones on here is the fuel facility improvements project. That's going to involve adding an additional Jet A tank at the airfield, a new card reader, new fuel dispensers. That's going to be much needed to help the airport continue to sell fuel and not have to rely so much on scheduling those loads so often. The second project is to rehabilitate some of the airfield access roads, the interior roads, vehicle drives. They're getting to be in poor shape. We've maintained them as best we can with help with our contractors doing projects, but it's time and they need more of a mill and overlay. Those two projects are requested on here to use the infrastructure dollars that the airport has available. Those came from the bipartisan infrastructure law that Congress passed, and those dollars are specifically assigned to the Natchitoches Regional Airport. The next several projects on here are state-only requests to replace the AWAS, which that's your weather monitoring system at the airport. That's what pilots and locals and even news stations rely on to get weather readings. We also have the phase 2 of the funds from the state to continue the work with replacing equipment, signs, lights with LEDs, and then some possible land acquisition to assist with the approach lighting system on the south end of the roadway. So again, this is a fluid document, can change any time, but the reason this action's before you tonight is because by November 1st, we have to make our formal submittal to the state. And so most of these projects, unless they're deemed as state projects, are of course 90% funded by the federal, by the FAA, with the state putting up a 10% match. Or if you see it listed as state, they're 100% state funded. So any questions or comments?
Just comment. We really do have a nice airport.
Yes,
We
in the
really
state,
do have
everyone,
great things out there.
everyone realizes that and appreciates it, and I think that's why you continue to get funds directed your way.
Will you
Great job.
state your first and last name?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jonathan Farmer with KSA Engineers.
Okay. It's just something we have you do, man.
Yeah, that's
You
all
know.
right.
Okay. All right, Jonathan, thanks a lot. We appreciate the work KSA is doing for
Thank
us out
y'all.
there, okay? All righty. Comments or questions?
It comes up, I hear it a lot, like, why we keep doing this? Well, the federal government or the state government's gonna spend the money somewhere. Why wouldn't we want them to spend it here? This is a fantastic airport, very well run, which is, like you just stated, why our director is like one of the best in the state. And that money's going somewhere. So why would we not want to bring it here? Yeah.
Yeah, we got Airport Manager of the Year, and we got something else that last year. What was it?
It was Airport of the Year, too.
Airport of the Year, too. Okay, yeah.
And they do a good job of covering their costs compared to other commissions or whatever. They bring in their own dollars, so it's good.
Well, certainly a team effort to do that. So, yeah, you certainly need to have a plan for improvement. So, plans do matter. I know people may think that they're non-essential, but they actually are. In fact, I'll just note here some of the federal funding that we're looking to get. They want to know if you have just citywide thinking, if you have a master plan developed already. So certainly need to have a plan so we know how we need to grow, know what projects need to be targeted, and then get funding that just follow your plan. I think it makes life easier. Okay? All right. Mr. Stacy, roll call vote. Oh, okay. I asked for comments and questions. Oh, all right. Thanks.
Hello, I'm so glad to have y'all here. My name is Precious Barber. I understand that y'all are attempting to get funding, which most likely they're going to give you or help to give you. But my question is, because Ed Lee tries his best to explain to me, but when I'm in the community, if it was probably on the east side, I probably wouldn't care. But being that it's on the south side of town, I'm trying to understand because a lot of people in the community, I've traveled since I've been asking them questions. I've been to Leesville, I've been to Mansfield, I've been other places where they have airports. And I see how they're beneficial to the community. So I'm trying to understand, what is it? Because everybody, when you ask them, they're like, I ain't never caught no plane in there. So what are they doing? And so I'm just trying to find out, because I heard them say y'all doing good things, but we as the community don't know the good things that y'all are doing on the south side of town. We don't know what y'all doing over there. So I'm trying to figure out what are the good things that they keep talking about, because when you ask people who live on that side of town, we don't know nothing. And so we just try to figure out what's going on, what are the good things that y'all are doing that they brag about a lot. So if one of you could explain, because Ed Lee tries to explain to me. He told me something about y'all keep, was it ambulance? What'd you say they do, Ed Lee?
Air evac.
Okay. So I'm just trying to understand what are these good things that y'all are doing. That's all. If one of you, the manager or someone, don't mind explaining to us.
Yeah, I think either one of y'all can, but actually I'll come to the microphone to answer that question. I'll say one point that I think Ed has tried to make, and I think he's been pretty clear about it, is we have, we're blessed to have certain manufacturers here in town, whether it's Pilgrims or Alliance Compressors, and their executives are able to fly in to our airport. They don't have to fly into Alexandria or Shreveport. So I think that's one benefit. It's certainly from the perspective of, if you've got a company here, such as Walmart, like we said, Alliance, Pilgrims, some others we've known to fly in and use the airport. But there may be something else one of y'all could say. Ms. Salter, you want to come forward? Just so it's on the microphone so it could be.
Stanley Salter, Chairman of the Airport Advisory Commission. That's a very good question. We have a fence around the airport, so people can't come and go. And it's not really apparent to a lot of people that we have a business community on that airport. One very important thing is the air evac service, which is providing helicopter service for our hospitals, not only in Natchitoches, but also in Winfield and Manning. Those helicopters will sometimes evacuate individuals to Houston, also to Baton Rouge and New Orleans. They also transport organs. Organ transport is very important. So that's one element. Another element that we spoke about earlier is the fire patrol unit operated by the state. 2 aircraft are in that hangar. We have 2 full-time pilots that fly those aircraft. They have been very, very busy over the past month with the wildfires in the area. If you came onto the airport today, you would see 4 or 5 helicopters that are stationed on the airport, many of these from California. These are firefighters who have been moved here by the National Wildfire Coordination Service to fight the wildfires down in the area south of Leesville and DeRidder. They've also been addressing wildfires over in Wynn Parish. So there's substantial activity off of this airport for medical reasons, for fire protection reasons. In addition to that, we also have a substantial agricultural service here, Norwest. They are based here in Natchitoches, but they have operations not only in Natchitoches, but also New Mexico, West Texas, Iowa, and Indiana. Many aircraft that are moved in and out of here. It's a substantial agricultural service. They have plans to build a hangar on Chaplain's Lake. They employ a number of individuals.
So y'all do bring employment? Y'all bring employment to the city?
Yes, every one of these businesses that I've mentioned here. Finally, one growing business is operated by Don Cummins Air Data Solutions, which is a mapping service. Not only mapping, but also the infrared and LiDAR photography. They do pipeline surveys. So his business has grown substantially. He's now renting an entire hangar, and they're looking at possibly growing and needing another hangar. So we have a substantial business community on the airport that is serving the community, and as the mayor mentioned, our corporate neighbors are in and out of the airport constantly. You don't see that, but that is the primary gateway to the city for our corporate neighbors. And
For the corporate neighbors?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I don't have to emphasize the fact there of how important that is for these companies.
Thank you.
Stanley,
Yes,
every one of those that you mentioned purchase fuel at the airport,
that is correct.
so that's,
They not only purchase fuel, they are either paying land leases or renting facilities in one way or another, and producing revenue for the city. And that is the city's business on the airport and to provide those services. And we have really one of the nicest facilities in the state out there. And again, the community really is not fully aware of that facility. We hosted a ladies group out there a little over a week ago. Janice Bolton is a member of this group, and she wanted her groups to come to the city, to the airport, because she realized so many were not aware of the facilities we have. The meeting started late because 4 or 5 of them couldn't find the FBO, but they had never been there before and they didn't know that it existed. Well, we finally got everybody assembled, and the 10-minute program that was supposed to take place ended up being 40 minutes because they did not realize what we have there.
Mrs. Salter, I think one of the things here too in Natchitoches, I don't know, maybe the wording may be wrong. I think with our airport being considered a corporate airport compared to like Shreveport or Alexandria, where people could just go in and fly, just local people. We're not that type of airport. And that's, I think, is what people here in Natchitoches who are not aware need to be aware that it's not that particular type of airport where, any layman can use it. It's for corporate use, right? More or less.
That is correct.
Right.
Go ahead.
It is available, the flying public can use the airport
Yeah, if they
whenever
have
they
a
so
airport,
choose. Yes, you're
right.
considered a general aviation airport.
Right, aviation.
You're one of about, I think, 60 some odd of those in the state, Mansfield, Manny, some of the ones you mentioned.
I don't
But
have
yes, the
airplane.
difference is that between Shreveport, you don't have scheduled commercial service, so there's no TSA or any of those things at the airport.
And I think that's the difference with ours.
Yes.
This is Precious Barber. I thank y'all for the education. We really, really need that. And I would love to make a suggestion, if possible, could you do any type of community-based program so where you can bring awareness and teach us as a community? Because as he stated, a lot of people don't know, and until you just told me, I had no answers for the people. So I was just wondering if I could make a suggestion, just to have some community state programs so that the company can know why you're here and what your purpose is. Because I know in Mansfield, they have like a balloon, hot air balloon thing or something that they do. And they bring the community out and they have singers and entertainment. And so everyone knows that they're there. And so I was just wondering if possible, if you have any funding to try to, bring awareness to the community about the airport, that'll be nice. Thank y'all.
That's a great idea, Precious. It is.
Okay, looking as they're taking their seat, I will say, that the governor has flown in, so it's a very, it's an amenity, I guess you could say. Instead of flying into Shreveport and driving down, or Alexandria and driving up, he flies right here and gets driven over to wherever he's going. Northwestern was one time, Ellison would say. He was here after Hurricane Laura, I think we remember that too, he came here. So, again, that's a benefit. So many benefits. Thank y'all so much for being here. All right, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson.
yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Okay. Our next item is we need a motion to amend the agenda again to remove resolution. And this kind of ties into earlier, as I stated earlier, it was written as a resolution, should have been an ordinance. So we're just a motion to take it off as being a resolution.
Which one is that?
Resolution number 086.
Mayor, I make a motion that we amend the agenda to remove ordinance number 086 from the agenda, resolution number 086 from the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Again, as I said, it was a resolution. It should be an ordinance, was written as a resolution, so we're just playing clean up here. Any comments about this? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Petey.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next item is appointing the fiscal agent for the city, is read by Councilwoman at-large Smith.
It's there. Let me find it now. Thank you, Mayor. This is resolution number 087, which is a resolution appointing the fiscal agent for the city of Natchitoches. Be it resolved that ordinance number 037 of 2018 of the Natchitoches City Council awarded Sabine State Bank the contract for fiscal agent for the city of Natchitoches, and be it further resolved that the council does hereby take cognizance of the recommendation of Mayor Ronnie Williams Jr. that Sabine State Bank of Natchitoches, Louisiana be appointed as the fiscal agent for the city of Natchitoches for the term November 1st, 2023 through October 31st, 2024. And it is further resolved that the city council hereby confirms the said appointment. And I move for adoption of resolution number 087.
Second.
All right, Clarissa, you want to give some background?
Yeah, this is just a little housekeeping work. We came up with to the council at the beginning of the year where we do all of our regular appointments, and we did appoint it up to the end of its actual contract terms, and the contract terms would have ended on October 31st of 2023. So we went through the process of reviewing our relationship with Sabine and saw that it was fit to go ahead and renew their relationship. We are going to renew it for a one-year agreement. Within that one-year agreement, we do have 3 automatic renewals if we choose to use them. So we actually could extend this relationship out to 2027, but we'll continue to review it annually to see if we wanted to extend that relationship. But this is just to go ahead and appoint them for the rest of the fiscal year into the next year as our fiscal agent.
I think that's a really good explanation. Comments or questions, council?
I think it's good, the 1 year.
Okay. Any other additional comments? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Petey.
Yes.
All right. Gotcha. Motion carries. Next item is read by Councilman Petey.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 089, resolution authorizing retained legal counsel to proceed with all steps required to ensure the participation of the city of Natchitoches in the claims process associated with the ongoing settlement of the polyfluoroalkyl substance litigation and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. I so move to adopt resolution number 089.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Alex can provide some comment, clarity on this particular item.
Yeah, this is the AFFF lawsuit that we filed probably about 8 months ago, where, as you probably saw in the news, that it settled for around $10 billion. But we were one of the municipalities that actually filed a suit early. Now you may see on the news that they're talking about the 3M lawsuits, and now they're trying to bring in more municipalities. But it's good that we filed early, and right now they're anticipating the settlement process to begin probably the next 3 to 6 months, but at least doing calculations right now. Not that the money will be distributed, but they're doing calculations. This legislation allows us to participate in the settlement process.
Okay.
And I'm not saying we're gonna get the, $9 billion, but
I was going to ask
we're we're far away from nothing by moving quickly as we did, so appreciate the council allowing us to move forward.
And this is associated with the water, I think, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that.
AFFF is a chemical that was used to put out fires years ago, but that contaminant It's called like forever chemical. It never dissolves. So it's in your ground, it's in your water. So they tested Natchitoches water, Sibley Lake, and we showed some portions of that contaminant, not enough to be lethal, but enough to allow us to be a part of the settlement. So there's this phase, and also there should be another settlement dealing with the property side that is contaminants in the property. So,
Okay, there's been a couple of these we've been a part of.
yeah.
Jules.
We've been a part of the Jewel litigation, which is the ECID. We've been a part of the opioid litigation, and we're part of the 3M, which are the 3 national suits that's taking place currently. So I think we chose wisely to join. So I think we should get some type of recovery, especially in this one, for sure.
By the end of the year, you said 3, yeah.
Well, they're doing the calculations now. They'll let us know when they will pay.
Any
It'll be a
comment?
while.
It'll be a while.
Yeah, slow. Any comment? All right, seeing none, Mr. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next, we've got a resolution read by Councilman Harrington.
Resolution 91 of 2023, a resolution authorizing Mayor Ronnie Williams Jr. to execute an entity state agreement with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, committing the city of Natchitoches to maintain sidewalks that will be constructed as part of DOTD project number H.014712 LA6 roundabout at LA 504. And whereas the city of Natchitoches desires to provide for the safety of pedestrians on all roads and streets located within its boundaries, and whereas continued development in the area of LA6, LA 504 intersection brings with it the potential for future increases in pedestrian traffic at this location, and the city of Natchitoches requests that DOTD include sidewalks in the construction of the roundabout project. And DOTD policy requires the local government entity in which the project is located to commit to ownership and maintenance of the sidewalks that are constructed as part of the state projects. And the location of the subject is within the corporate limits of the city of Natchitoches. Now be it resolved that the Natchitoches City Council hereby authorizes Mayor Ronnie Williams Jr. to execute an entity state agreement with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, committing the city of Natchitoches to maintain sidewalks that will be constructed as part of DOTD project LA6 roundabout at LA 504. I move to adopt Resolution 91 of 2023.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. We've got Nick Verrett. He does a lot of engineering for us. He's working on the sinkhole, worked on the street project. Of course, some other grants that we were successful in and some others we're trying to get. So Nick has been here before us before, so.
Good evening, Nick Barrett, city engineer. Just, I think the facts were stated as part of the resolution, but just the bottom line is when sidewalks are constructed as part of a state project, the DOTD does require that they be maintained by the local government entity. Although we may not have a whole lot of pedestrian traffic at that location right now, we do have continued development in the area, and we do have the potential for pedestrians. And through our Safe Streets for All grant and some of our other local initiatives, including the RAISE grant for implementing pedestrian safety improvements, we feel like this is something that should be considered in this project as well. Any questions? This, by the way, this project is scheduled to be bid on November the 8th, and by adopting the resolution so that we can get the agreement back to DOTD in a timely manner, we can keep the project on track for letting.
Nick, this is out there by the auto mall?
Yes.
Location? Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's that kind of weird spot where, right in front of Wendy's.
Right. A lot of things happening right there. The roundabout should help both the vehicular traffic safety as well as providing pedestrian refuge for crossing in that area. I figure at some point you're probably going to have pedestrians from the auto mall trying to walk to the restaurants across the street, and we need to, and hotels to provide for their safety.
How far down will it go? I mean, will it go as far down as when you're coming from exit to Natchitoches, right in that area? trying to cross over? So how far down will it?
Basically, the roundabout will be at the intersection proper. Now, there'll be a couple of 100 feet of feeder, for the roadways coming into the exact, location of the roundabout. So there'll be a couple of 100 feet of each leg, as if you will, of the roundabout. So
I mean, will it go as far down, where close to where McDonald's is?
No,
Not that far?
no.
Okay.
The project now is only the roundabout, and as I said, it'll be a couple of 100 feet on each side as far as the legs entering the roundabout. There are some other things planned by DOTD along that corridor, but that's not part of this project at this time.
One of the things I noticed on a trip to DC is that every roundabout they have is heavily used by pedestrians, and the traffic is way worse than here, but each one is kind of like a park sanctuary, if you will, and it's all positive stuff.
Right. Basically, roundabouts do provide for a refuge space for pedestrians, especially on multi-lane highways like the 4-lane road there. So I think by virtue of the fact that the roundabout's going to be there, we really need to have the sidewalks
Crosswalks
connected.
and
Yes, sir.
all the things that
Correct.
complement that.
That's correct. This is all state funding, yes. It's federal and state funding, no city funding whatsoever, other than our commitment to maintain the sidewalks in the future.
Yeah, I was in one on Friday. Ziza got her certificate down in Houma, administrative assistant certificate, and we were in one. It just kind of slow you down, and you thinking, hold up.
This
which way I need to go?
obviously will be the first one in our area, but they've proven very successful in other places where they've been, and we know that's a pretty hazardous intersection right now. So.
Oh, they're doing them, and the engineers, a lot of engineers are suggesting roundabouts.
Yes, sir.
Which, I mean, residents get crazy when new things come and it's a change, but
Sure.
I think the experts are saying it's safer for us.
The rest of the world's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, true.
The thing about, I'm sorry, the thing about roundabouts, they eliminate the right angle collisions. Those are the ones that you don't walk away from. In roundabouts, you do have, if there's crashes in roundabouts, it's normally going to be a side swipe type thing that you're going to walk away from. So that's the main thing about roundabouts and improving highway safety is it eliminates the right angle collisions that are mostly fatalities or serious injuries.
I think the one in Bossier, they don't stop, it continues. Now, will there be stop signs? I know the one in Lufkin, there are stop signs, so we'll have access to stop signs, and it's still a roundabout, but.
Yeah. I do not anticipate stop signs at all. The ones that I've seen constructed in Louisiana, they're all a yield condition for traffic entering the circle. You yield to traffic that's already in the roundabout, and I suspect that'll be the same thing here.
Okay, a yield would be good. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thanks a lot, Nick. I think you made it very clear.
All right, thank you.
All righty. Any other comment? All right, seeing now, Mr. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Peachy.
Yes.
All right, nice picture. All right, we've got next. That's a nice picture. Mrs. Clarissa Brown Smith is on for financial report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just quickly, we'll go through some of the sales tax information through August of this year. I'm not sure if the slides are up there or not. Okay, sorry, they're maybe hard to see, but I'll go through them with you. The first one is just a pie chart to show the total collections of all sales tax in the city or parish. And you can see the 9.1 million there to your right as you're looking at the pie chart is the city of Natchitoches portion, and we assume 33% of all sales taxes. So that's just a little pie chart to kind of show you our piece of the pie. The next one, that's further to your right, you'll see a bar graph where it shows the total collections just for the city of Natchitoches. Over the last 2 years, we have increased sales tax collections for our portion as a city of Natchitoches of 1.42% increase. So over the last year to now, we've increased our collections of $127,372. Total collections for 2023 is $9.1 million. You can go ahead. I'm gonna skip the one that's on your left and we'll jump to the one that's on your right. This just shows, looking at just our fiscal year, which starts in June, just shows the first quarter of that year, of our fiscal year. We've increased our collections in the month of August by 8%. So we're doing very, very well in the first quarter of this fiscal year in regards to sales tax collections. Go to the next slide. Here you can see again, it gives you kind of the same information, but it totals it up for the first quarter versus just showing you month by month. Year to date, we have increased sales tax of 5%. Total collections for the year is $3.4 million. And we've had an increase over the last year of $172,000. So we're definitely trending upward in sales tax collections. We can move along. Again, this is just another, it had another graph that kind of shows you the same information. This particular slide here shows some of our TIF district collections. You can see the first section of TIF District A, which is a hotel occupancy tax. When we're taking a look at that year to date, we've collected $44,349. When you annualize that, we are estimated to collect $66,500. So trending around the same that we did on last year. So we're looking to annualize that at about $66,500. The next section you'll see is for our TIF District C. And this one is showing to be trending in a great direction. We've collected $178,000 thus far. With that number annualized, we are set to collect $267,000 by the end of the year. Last year, we collected $255,000, so we are going to exceed last year's collections, which is great. The next slide shows our economic development districts. For Economic Development District A and C, we're trending upward. We are looking to annualize at about $524,000. Last year, we were at $463,000. So definitely trending in a positive direction. The last section you'll see is for Economic Development D and E, which are some of our newer ones. And we are looking to annualize for D at $36,000 and for E at $82,000. So definitely trending in a positive direction with our sales tax, and that's definitely great to see as we go into some of our highest collection months, which is our holiday month. So we're excited to see that. But that's all I have, Mayor.
Council comment or questions for Clarissa?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You went through it pretty fast.
Oh, so sorry. I get to
that's
talking.
okay, that's
I apologize.
It's okay. And what are we attributing to C increase of the districts?
Economic Development District C?
Yeah.
I mean, just across the board. I mean, we're just developing more, a lot of visitation in the city as we talk to the tourism board and talk with Sales Tax Commission in our quarterly meetings. We're just seeing a lot of movement within the city, definitely with just some of the newer developments, some of the pipeline for the oil companies they're still doing some cleanup work, and so we still have a lot of activity from that. So you'll see, you'll continue to see an uptick there. They're getting ready to phase out, but not yet, so they're still, have some mobility here. So we're still seeing some of the benefit of having some of those people in our system. Now, I can tell you this, The Natchitoches Tax Commission is doing a great job of going out there and capturing whatever dollars, making any type of adjustments that need to be made in regards to misfilings and things like that. That's one of the big things that we talk about in our quarterly meeting, is anybody that misfiled, they're going back and doing the homework and reallocating those funds to the appropriate agency. So just seeing some great things and a lot of growth and movement in the city.
How we doing on vehicle sales? Have we tracked that at all?
They do track that. I don't have it in front of me, so I apologize. I can get you that information.
Yeah, with the new
But-
ones, I'd
right.
kind of like to see. how
No,
we're
that
trending.
that's actually an interesting statement, and I can definitely get you the last report. But they do track that as well. They do.
Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot, Clarissa, we
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All righty, always encouraging everybody to download the Go Natchitoches app, download Regroup as well. Do we have any more announcements, Steve? Lunchtime lanyard. Remnants of Parallel World Surviving Green Book Sites in Louisiana with Kevin Shanahan. Interesting, all right. So they do these, they've got a regular calendar of these events, and a lot of them are really interesting. So Kevin will be a part of this one, so you may want to drop in. Again, that's this Friday at lunchtime lanyard. It's at the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Mhm. They've had a piece on the Steel Magnolias and then just some other things. All right. Okay, the Classic Car Show, that's happening this weekend. Really, I think one of the events that's trending real popular in the city of Natchitoches. I think our cars have grown over the years, so kudos to the committee, HDBA and others who put on that, just adding another kind of reason to be in Natchitoches. I think signs have already been up in terms of where they need to register. So obviously our city departments, whether it's Public Works, whether it's MPD, Community Development, all play a great hand in making sure these events go well. And one thing I love about it is people are there, especially Christmas Fest. You know trash is there, but you wake up on Sunday morning, you don't see any trash. So we've got, that doesn't just magically happen. So got our Public Works Department, they're out doing that, make sure that that's up. So again, but just a great event for us. All right, Chief Wynn has spoken earlier about this annual event, really good event. It's educational about fire, but it's also hands-on, fun, kid-friendly. So I texted my wife earlier. I sent her a picture of the flyer. She said it's already on the calendar. Boo. She threw that little boo in there. But yeah, so it's already on the calendar. All right, we'll hit it again. All right, the Kiwanis, I stand corrected. Most people probably wouldn't have corrected me, but I did not beat Chief Collins last year. He wasn't a part of it last year, so, but I did win, but it was somebody else. But it wasn't Chief Collins, all right? So, all right, but the Kiwanis is coming up. That's going to be next Saturday, right? Yeah, October 7th. Yeah, that is next Saturday. All right, moving on to the next. That's Tracy Lawrence is coming back to Natchitoches with Taptober. That's an event put on by NRMC, their foundation. So really good event. I think a pretty well-attended event. So again, something else on the fall calendar to do in the city of Natchitoches. All right? Is there anything else, Steve? These are really important. We want you, and we say, it doesn't say it there, but the press release we put out, it's a draft master plan. So it's not a completed document. It can't be complete if there's not public input yet. So we want to make sure, certainly there's some ideas, but again, we need the public comment. So we're really trying to push this to get as many people as we can. So October 10th, really the 11th at 11:30 through 1, we're really pushing for our city council and planning and zoning commissions to be at those particular meetings. But if you can't make that one, certainly you got 3 opportunities, all at the event center, to be there to hear about this presentation and to give your comment, your honest feedback. So this is about how we want to grow as a city, all right? And so you being a member of the city, it's important to hear what you have to say, okay? All right, is there anything else? Yeah, that's, we've announced this before, 25th anniversary. and it's taking place on October 12th, all right, at the Orville J. Henchy Gallery, all right, which is where it's across from A.A. Frederick's on the same property, but just across the way from A.A. Frederick's. So, and there's a fee to attend. The Creole Festival, October 13th through the 15th. So this is out in the parish, but one of those really good events that happen every year. So, you know, go to it. You could buy crafts and things like that, good music, good food as well. So, you know, it's a Louisiana kind of thing. So make sure you put it on the calendar to go. All right, that's it, Steve? We're at the end of that? Okay, all right. The other thing is the Safe Street Survey. We had a round of meetings with that. Still want to encourage people to do the survey. That's a way by which we're getting feedback on that. Again, so far, I know Nick probably is, but I'm very pleased with how it's going so far. I think the firm, they're doing a really good job, especially on the community engagement part. And we want to see the plan develop so then we can take that plan and secure some dollars so we can make our streets safer. Okay?
Man, I think the fair is this weekend.
That's right. Thank you, Councilman PT. When does it start? Is it Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Okay, it starts on Wednesday through Saturday. They don't do a Sunday, do they?
No, sir.
Okay, Wednesday through Saturday. So again, thank you for acknowledging that. The fair is happening this week and into the weekend. All right? All right, good. Again, lots of things going on. Lots of things. All right, at this time, we'll hear a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I make a motion that we join.
Second?
All right, motion is made and seconded. All in favor? All right.
And the next scheduled meeting will be Monday, October the 9th, which is my daughter, Tanjika Sawyer Montgomery's birthday.
All right. All right, through Tanjika. This meeting is adjourned.